Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Drew and Friends monthly studio class. My name is Geoff Robson. I'm the interim artistic director of your Arkansas Symphony Orchestra, and I'm thrilled to be joined here once again with Drew Irvin, concertmaster of the Arkansas Symphony, as well as several of our violin friends and colleagues from the orchestra for this month's class with four current and former members of the Arkansas Symphony Youth Orchestra. Now, a master class, as most of you probably know, is a venerable tradition in classical music training where you basically perform and then are coached like a private lesson, but in a public performance setting. And it helps us train our nerves, it helps us train our performance instincts, and of course gives us performing experience. So this, in the age of COVID, is what we've been doing monthly now since September, and we've had a number of students play, and actually some of the students you'll hear tonight are playing for the second time, and it's a violin party tonight. So I'm gonna turn things over to Drew Irvin to get us going.
Thank you very much, Geoff, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy New Year to everybody out there, and thank you, students and my colleagues, for showing up tonight. I'd just like to introduce the two new to us colleagues here into the master class. We've got Meredith Hicks, principal second of the Arkansas Symphony and member of Quapaw Quartet, and she's originally a Nashville native, and has been a part of the Arkansas Symphony for a good period. She and I are we call ourselves the same class. We came the same year. And then Linnaea Brophy is also a violinist who just joined the orchestra. She's basically the newest member of the orchestra, and she is from Memphis, Tennessee. And we're very grateful to have her. Linnaea has, she's in the Rockefeller Quartet, and she has studied at New England Conservatory and Stony Brook, and we're very excited to have you here. Thank you guys both for joining us. We are going to dive right in because we have some great music. So let me hand it off now to our first young artist and first of tonight's frequent flyers or repeat offenders. Chloe, take it away.
I will be playing Bach's Jig in E major. Sorry.
Awesome. Good job. I'm glad you restarted it again so that we could really hear you kind of get into it by the second half. My first thought was the very first note. I really like how you're grabbing that really well, but then it kind of overshadows the next note, which is a strong note on a downbeat. So how can maybe we can think about keeping that crispy pickup, but still we want to have some vibrato and some ringing actually on the G sharp. If you do too much, then that next note is dead. So can you, what if you just start at the beginning without the pickup? With some nice vibrato on the G sharp, just leave out the B. Uh-huh. How about just for practice, you hold that G sharp longer than everything else? So you can really vibrate on it. There we go. Now let's put it back in context. Good, okay, now add the pickup back, but try not to let it be 10 times louder than the G sharp. Okay, I think that's a better start already. And maybe some of it could be with has to do with how you're landing. Maybe if we can give it a little bit more cushion with the fingers. Actually, I think that could be a theme for this whole movement. It's just how much more involved can you get your bow fingers going? Because I'm seeing some really nice forearm movement and détaché, but then there's a lot of string crossings that maybe you can think about using smaller, if they're not muscles, smaller parts, smaller parts for smaller notes, especially string crossing things, so you don't have to get the arm so much involved. So maybe I would do it slowly and just kind of think mechanically. Is this an arm place or is this a finger place? Is it a seesaw place? I think string crossings, very big string crossings of more than one string, you can use that big shoulder movement that you're doing. But smaller, you can think maybe more of this kind of stuff.
Okay.
That was my main thought. And I did hear some very nice vibrato on some other notes, especially in the second half, which I really liked, and you can add more of that in the first half.
And I'm just going to jump in because I was really proud of you for your recovery, because everybody has challenges, and especially everyone, raise your hand if Bach is hard for you sometimes, right? Right. So we've all lived through it. So thank you so much for trying that. You probably should practice. I would just think about practicing small groups and figures, like a half measure into a measure, half measure to a measure, and kind of do some of the, I think some of the practice, a little bit of the type of practice that Meredith was talking about. You might have to think of it as repetitious, but a couple times through, thinking about either a technical aspect for one time and then changing it to musical direction on the next time. And the next thing you know, you've played it like 10 times and it's sunk into both your brain and your muscles a little better. This just is looking like it's needing a little bit more time to ferment. But I will tell you this, all solo repertoire, Bach, of course, because we play so much in the violin world, I'll be ready, I think I've got it, and I go out and I do it, and I'm like, why did that go wrong? It's never gone wrong before. Every single one of us here has had a Bach experience where like, I've never made that memory slip before, or I've never had my fingers not do that. It's just the nature of Bach. You have to live with it and let it ferment for a while. So thank you so much for making music. And when you relaxed, I loved your sound. So that was great. And getting the brain to that place right before you start is really tough. It's a journey, but great work. Thanks. Anyone else?
I was going to say some really really great work you're doing, Chloe, with the intonation was just really starting to pop, I thought, on that. And especially once we got going. And you know, I know since I've been working with you on this that you haven't been working on it for very long, and so this is your first time playing it for, you know, anyone other than me, and so I think it's really coming. And keep doing what you're doing. I think the practice tips that Meredith and Drew gave you will both help you also with the memorization, which of course is something that we're, you know, that's you're still kind of trying to solidify. I was going to suggest an exercise for memorization that you could do for this movement, because it's not all that long, is literally print out a piece of staff paper or a few pieces of staff paper off the internet and write out this movement in your own hand. You know how that's with, like, taking notes in class, like that writing motion, you know, helps you memorize. I think that could be a good exercise for you. So.
Okay.
Anyone else have any burning desires to share something? If not, we can go ahead.
Yeah, this is just a really quick thing. I really enjoyed it a lot. I think you've got the character of the Jig. Just keep in mind that a little bit about like the history of the Jig dances in the Baroque era. They were very light and cheerful, kind of. So I think the bow should have a certain airiness in the way it moves. Not entirely off the string, but maybe sometimes a bit more bow, but less weight on the 16th. But I really liked it a lot. Great.
Thank you, gang, and thank you, Chloe. I think we're gonna now move on. Next, we have, are we ready for Harmony? Is that the next, Brooke? Yes. And Harmony did a special presentation for us because she was rehearsing for the pianist. So we are going to get to hear part of that rehearsal and work off of that. Would you care to go ahead and introduce it anyway, Harmony?
Hi, I'm Harmony, and I'm going to play the first movement of the Bruch Violin Concerto, about like half of it. So thank you.
Okay, and just to be clear, I am now going to go into a screen share for Harmony's video. And here we go. Sorry to stop there. I'm going to start it over in just one moment. I think I can improve the settings. Sorry about that. Okay, very nice.
Take it away, Linnea.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I had forgotten this. I was focused on this piece. It's really great harmony. You sound very confident with this. Almost like, have you performed it before? Like, have you known it a while or?
No.
Really? Wow. Well, it's great. Like all the technique was there. Yeah, there wasn't even much I noticed. I really liked it. It might be the effect of the Zoom partly, but I think perhaps the dynamics could be exaggerated even more. I mean, this piece just has so many characters and there's just always so much going on musically. And I think we can bring that out a lot. On kind of a micro level inside the phrases, like that initial swell at the beginning, I think I would lead to the B flat a little more. And then when you come in, you know how your second entrance is an E flat major. I think it'd be really cool if that entrance could feel very, well, like the first entrance is kind of a little bit more dark and pensive and rich, right? And then the second entrance, I think it would be cool if it sounded a little more triumphant, because we're in E flat major now. Maybe vibrate that E flat a little faster. Like almost, I accented every note. I wouldn't quite do that, but just really, like I'm playing this phrase. I'm excited to play this phrase. Let's see, what else did I notice? Yeah, I think in general, just imagine that. I mean, it sounds really great with the piano too, but sometimes it's fun to imagine you actually have the orchestra behind you. It's sort of a different mindset. Just imagine all those different instruments behind you. And as the soloist, well, I mean, you and the conductor agree with each other about what to do, obviously, but as a soloist, you do get to have a little bit of control. I tempted to say be more of a diva. I don't know if that's, I hope that phrasing is okay, but just feel like I'm the soloist and I'm playing these phrases. Yeah, so when you start the marcato section around A, I think that dotted rhythm could have been a little more snappy. It's a double dotted, so the 16th is almost an 8, so yeah. And then a slightly bigger double down bow. The rhythm in the next bar is a little tricky. I know he put 7 notes. That's a lot of notes in one beat. But the next bar, the D, came, I think it was a smidgen early. So the 16th notes might have actually been a bit fast. I think the 7 in one beat, that's such a fast subdivision. I don't even remember what they're called. But those 16ths were fine. But when it got to the, I think it moved forward slightly. Yes, just keep very steady. There's a lot of stuff here. I loved your chords. I think if it's possible, you know how you have all those down. I think it's kind of a typical practice performance technique that people start them a little slower and then speed up. I think I've heard that. So maybe the first couple of chords, just roll them a little more. Yeah. And then the largamente, I think you can feel that even more broadly. If I remember, I think the piano's mostly holding chords there, but and as passionate vibrato as you can. As it says expressive, yeah. place, isn't it? Will you start from?
I'm sorry. It seems like really soft on my end. I don't know if maybe I can turn my volume up, but where did you want me to start?
Oh, yeah, my own volume was too low. Yeah, could you start on the double forte?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep going. That was great so far. Yeah, I wanted to hear the chord passage.
Sorry, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. Already, I like how you're already doing a more singing vibrato on this passage. Yeah, the only thing I noticed was that I think the octave eighth perhaps go a bit slower than you think. And by that point, you've been playing a lot of 16th notes, so that's what. But one, two, three. Sorry, I kind of chickened out with the octaves, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the tempo very steady there. Yeah. Just trying to.
Some great stuff, Linnaea. Merrick or Geoff, do you guys have some things you want to chime in on?
Great work, Harmony. I think it's really coming in. Like Linnea said, you know, the technique fundamentals are totally there, and every piece of musical advice that Linnea just gave, I think, is golden. So note those carefully. I think you can, as she was saying, take more time in some places, so I think what if I were going to give a couple comments, I would direct them on a slightly more technical front. And you know, while something I'd love for you to keep in mind playing this piece is that the energy and the sound quality don't just come from the bow; they come from the left hand as well. And what I can hear sometimes in your is that you release your fingers out of the string. So instead of keeping your fingers in the string, they're kind of coming out a little bit, and you're not so sustained with the left hand as well. And I think that in doing that, that will allow you also to vibrate. So even here, on those octaves, keep your left hand in the string, and if you could vibrate that high B flat octave, it would really be nice. So I think more energy. I think it's just a little bit of kind of physical work with the left hand. Now, physical work with the left hand is not the same thing as tension. You can work for the vibrato. You can have weight in the string without being tense and without it affecting your ability to play fast. And I think another example is I mean, I think the vibrato can be just absolutely huge there, and get just the fullest mature just sound that you can and really work for it. I wouldn't mind if we have 30 seconds. I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit of that second theme, thinking about left hand in the string and just crazy vibrato from. Just for a minute or so.
Right on that measure?
Yeah, why don't you start right there? Yeah. is quite good. It's quite good, but the vibrato almost stops. And so can you get the weight in the string and release this knuckle, that first knuckle a little bit, get a little bit of finger in it as well. So your arm moves and then, but you see your finger gets in it too. So one more time. It's better. I would spend some time looking for the sound there, you know, and just really getting the most, every penny's worth out of that violin, you know. But good. Meredith?
Harmony, I have to tell you that your trills blew me away. I was like, whoa, those trills were so fast, and from what very clear from what I could tell, I can't trill that fast. Wow, that was impressive. That was really good. Just to kind of echo what we've already been talking about, I think you can just take more chances. Be the diva that Linnaea encouraged you to be, because there's a lot of rubatos, different tempos that you can really milk. I would love to hear some slides in that passage that Geoff was just helping you with. I'm not sure I heard a single slide, and that makes me sad, because romantic music needs just a few slides to connect. I feel like you lay everything down technically so well, but maybe spend some time thinking about what some of the musical intention is behind some of these things, like that 12 thing that you just played. 12, what's it even called, Geoff? I don't know. There's 12 notes. That should it just be machine gun 12 equal notes, or can it, start slow and spin faster? What's the reason right there? We're building up some excitement, energy, and passion there. So I think passion might be a key word to be kind of thinking about. Why did he write? What are these octaves supposed to be doing? What are these chords? Why are they here at this particular moment? And then find out how to express that best, whether it's starting slower, whether it's spreading them out, speeding them up, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just kind of laying down or kind of, playing what's on the page, but you're ready to go beyond the page. Yeah.
And just to close up, Harm, thanks to my peers, because Harmony is my student. I love everything you guys said, and I'm really hoping that hearing it from you guys is going to help her. The gold from Linnaea on the whole first page, all those things, and then the two big things that I love from Geoff and Meredith. Find the soul now. Find that you're in a fun practice space, because you can do all the stuff you need to do. You can clean up this, that, and the other, but now why is this happening musically? And it's like the fun time when you get to experiment, and it can change a lot in a very short period of time. So practice should be a balance of your vitamins and minerals, but fun and music and loosening things up now. Great. Anyone else in the closing? Thank you, Harmony, and to your pianist, Joanna Collette. So, all right, and next we have Dayton.
Hi, I'm Dayton, and I'll be playing Don't Etude number 8 from Opus 37, I believe.
Thank you, Dayton. I'm just going to jump in real fast. I gave you this piece for college auditions because colleges need etudes, and the technical aspect. This is for the violin world. This is all about the change of fingers up between low and high and this kind of stuff. For the people who are watching who might not play the violin, that aspect is on the right track. The thing I think I would love for you to do for the next level of this is also just go for the sound and the direction of the music. I feel like you're kind of like, okay, gotta learn the notes, got the notes, let's do the notes. But now we have to make the musical size and the direction and the expressivity, you know? And the one technical thing I would spend a little time on the first page are the string crossings on 3 lines from the bottom of the first page, where you have basically 6 measures in a row where you play 1 string and then you grab 1 note. What do you need to do? You already know this. What do you need to do to your bow for that 1 note?
I need to keep it closer to the string I'm about to go to instead of, so it doesn't go like this.
Right. And when you make the string crossing, what makes the string crossing?
Oh, fingers.
Yeah. So you just need to make sure that it's not a big giant jump from da 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 da. You know, work that in. But more importantly, let's do the beginning and see if we can play the first 3 or 4 measures with your most beautiful, rich, expressive sound. That's on the right track. I would even do more. I think you're going to need to save your bow for some of these things. You know, know when to save and when to spend, so you can have the weight in the bow distribution. Okay. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very sophisticated terms. That's the idea. I would love to hear from my peers because I know they've got some great stuff to help.
So Drew kind of alluded to this, Dayton, but I'd like to hear this in your words. What is an etude?
I feel like an etude is a piece focused on like building technical things.
Absolutely. And so does every etude have every technical thing in it, or is an etude targeted at some particular technical thing?
I feel like they target specific things.
So what is this one targeting?
I think left hand shape and maybe left hand coordination, and maybe like intonation as well with all the chromatic stuff.
Yeah, and so what I think this is hugely important is the intonation with this one. And you know, because when in this kind of writing, half steps are not all equal, right? Whenever you have when you're listening to yourself as I grab my instrument here, you know, every half step you play, every sharp note or every note on the page that has a accidental next to it, it goes to another note. So it's a half step away from another note that is a little more centered, part of the harmony. So when you're one of the beautiful things about the violin is that we can make the half steps be really, really close to that fundamental note. So we just play really slowly. Those first 6 notes and show me how this D sharp goes with this E. Then the D natural goes with the C sharp. And the C natural goes with the B natural.
Separate bows?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's better. So you might hear how that when you slowed it down like that, the D natural could still be lower, and the C natural could still be lower, and the D sharp could still be higher. Try it one more time. And this is how you get that sparkling kind of intonation that the great violinists have. I liked it a lot. Do you hear the difference there? Yeah, and so if you commit to just, you know, my teacher used to say you have to be like a detective trying to find these notes within, you know, where you can lead the half steps closer to those fundamental notes, and you get that sparkling sound. But it's hard to hear, and so you have to challenge yourself and always never take anything for granted, as you know, as all of you, I guess, have heard me say on many occasions, you're always looking for opportunities to make that intonation sparkle even better. I agree with what Drew said as well about the bow. You know, don't fail to think about bow apportionment and how much bow and bow speed. And so, vibrate. So you need to make gestures. So, but good work. I think this is a tricky etude and a good exercise. But I wanted to give my little half steps lecture.
And it's about time to go on. But does anyone else want to chime in with something? No? Okay. Mayor, Linnea, anyone? You don't have to. We can.
I can say something real fast. I find that when etudes are working with something under a long legato, that it kind of exposes every little extra sound and bit, because we don't have our bow to kind of cover it up. So after working on the intonation and those really small half steps, I would probably take it apart and just try to figure out what my finger is doing on each note. Is it dropping? Is it lifting? Is it moving horizontally on the string? There's a different action for every single note. And if we can kind of really isolate each one, the first one is a plop. Then we have a lift. and we want to get kind of there's an articulation hiding in there if we can lift loosely and quickly enough. Then we have a horizontal movement. So just kind of figuring out each single movement, and I think that will help clean it up. So it's not just all down, 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 but there's also some ups, there's some sideways, there's some, it's amazing when you really start to think about this stuff, how many things we literally do. And that's just on the left side. So, I mean, we're all kind of geniuses, I think. That's just, right?
And we're all humble. Thank you so much. Why don't we go on? I'm so looking forward to hearing Keenan now.
All right, I'll be playing the second and third movement from Viatov's Fifth Violin Concerto.
Bravo, Keenan. It is so great to hear you. Congratulations. You're a freshman. Is that correct? You're a freshman?
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
You're a freshman, correct? This is your first semester freshman year. That is a wonderful developmental jump for you from when we heard you last year to this year. Congratulations. All right, I'm gonna throw out a couple things that I think you will make it a little, bring just a couple more ideas inside of that for you. A couple areas. The arpeggios that you do, the dum, ba-dee-da-dum, ba-dee-da-dum, ba-dee-da-dum. I would spend some time using a drone to match the pitch from octaves to octaves. Even when you're in first position, the G sharps aren't matching. Okay, your E's are pretty good. Good for you on the E's. We got those E's, but we can afford to get the G sharps and the B's in there, okay? I would also spend a little time on the, let me see if I get the third page here. Get through some of the notes. Okay, so when you start the melody in the A major melody, I noticed your vibrato going in and out of the fingers. So, and I would notice you'd be the, and it needs to be continuous. I noticed it especially here. We want to make sure we hear vibrato on every note on that way up, okay? We don't want any finger to go. Especially, it was your third finger that stopped vibrating. And I'm like, that's one of our best fingers, okay? We all tend to have a really nice third finger vibrato, so really be aware of that. A couple spots, I very, very, very much remember this piece in my development and how it helped me begin to have a little more freedom to be romantic and free. For example, when you climb up, you just went. I'm like, well, congratulations on having the technique to keep going. But in the words of Linnea, you know, you got to be a diva up top. And what's the soprano going to do when she gets there? Hey, I'm going to hold it. I got this for a while. Let me be juicy on that top note. And then you make up the time later. Because you know what the orchestra is doing right there?
Nothing.
Exactly. They're waiting for you to be the most awesome, exciting, expressive thing. One small detail, I'm just going to plant the seed. You are on the right. I noticed that you do lots of variety of bow speed, but I would encourage you to do a lot more. It's in there, but even this to the beginning. And then when you did the second phrase, what I measured to later, it's a little different bow speed and different vibrato. Explore that idea. I know it's hard to start that, you know, because you were just sitting for 45 minutes and all of a sudden go play and you have to, you know, play a lot of stuff. And one thing I would also look at, and I think your martelé up bow is too far away from the string. I think it really needs to be there on. Okay. And small things, I would explore all of this entire last run of 16th notes with a martelé, collé, bite every note all the way through so that you get the solo sound. So I'm loading the string. I'm loading so every note is practiced slowly with making sure it's bite and it's like a gunshot, because this piece is when the orchestra starts to ramp up at the end and they're starting to play over you and you have to cut through them. Okay, and that kind of practice helps with virtuosity. You practice it very slowly, making sure each note goes like a gunshot. Okay, release that. It's a martelé release, so it's the fluff bow. Bite release, bite release. But that bite is going to make you zing out over the orchestra. And that's just so much fun. I would love to keep working with you, but I know my peers have some great things to say.
Great work, Keenan. Yeah, it's I haven't heard you play for a few months, and you're just at this stage where each time it's you're like a completely new violinist, and that's fabulous. And it's, of course, this piece is a huge technical challenge. And what I was going to say kind of piggybacks on what Drew was saying, but slightly different angle on it. When you're thinking about this, I would challenge you to have a really clear idea of what you want it to sound like, and then focus your practicing on achieving that sound, rather than just sort of like hoping that it sounds good, or trying to sound good. That's not really a deep enough kind of completion of what your goals are when you're going to be playing it. And so and the bow speed and all of that factors in. So at the beginning, what do you want this to sound like, and tone wise, I would suggest maybe doing a second, or the landing finger slide instead of for that one, but that's just a small thing. But then a few bars later, the second theme, it's a different sound, and you might experiment with doing something different to make it sound there. But even in the technical passages, do I want a clicky sound? Do I want core to the sound? Is this on the string? Just having a decision made about everything. I think you'll find it easier to accomplish your technical goals if you have really clear objectives in mind, sound-wise. So I'll leave my commentary at that, but maybe see if the others want to contribute a little bit too. But very fine work.
Thank you.
Linnea, you have any ideas, any suggestions?
It was really great. I felt like emotionally moved during the melodic passages, which is always a great goal to have. I really didn't notice much. I think on the last movement, I would like the second line of the final movement, I would think very carefully about what position you're shifting to. Like that passage you were going up the G string. Okay, now second position, third. Sorry. And really, I think as you go up the G string, dig into the string a little more, because it's a bit harder to get the string to speak the higher you have to play. So with the right hand, the left hand was pretty solid, I think, but I think the right hand could have enabled that passage to come out even more flamboyantly just by sinking into the string. Yeah.
Thanks, Linnea. Mayor, anything you want to chime in on?
Just kind of echoing what you probably already heard from the others. I feel like the slow movement gets shortchanged. That's another thing that makes me sad, because I love slow movements. So I would just like to hear, so much of it is so loud and powerful that I think there's also a power in playing really soft and intimate and drawing people in where they get goosebumps because it's so beautiful and quiet. So like the spot Geoff was talking about, where that second theme on the third line starts, it's a new start, pianissimo. What kind of sound do you want to have? And also all the high stuff that's piano at the bottom of the page. Just how do we play high on the E string and soft? Because a lot of that, I still kind of had a lot of, and it could be the Zoom, the dynamics get lost on Zoom, but maybe not so much core all the time, but how can we instill a little more sweetness and variety into a high piano sound? That's hard for us to do. We're so used to wanting to play loudly all the time, but I think we need to give as much attention to soft things too. And then your loud things sound, even louder by comparison. But if we don't have a comparison, then it kind of just gets lost.
Thank you so much, gang. And you know what? I'm afraid we're going to have to call the end of our Drew and Friends for tonight. I want to take the time to thank these young artists. Keenan, it is so wonderful to hear you. Keep up the hard work, and I can't wait for you to check in with us again over the next few months and years. And Chloe and Harmony and Dayton, I know you guys are getting ready for auditions. Dig in, keep working, keep practicing like crazy. I want to thank Linnaea and Meredith and Geoff for such amazing, wonderful advice and great pedagogical insight. And as always, thank you to our tech, Brandon, for working tonight. And encourage my students, all of you guys, go practice. Always have a purpose when you practice. Purpose, purpose, purpose. Great, gang. Thanks. And have a great night.